Hello and welcome to.
It's Coleman's Corner.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that. That was
That
very
good?
good. I'm one brain at a time. Host number one, Adam.
And I'm Andy Feast, one brain at a time, host two.
Yeah, way! And this is a YouTube exclusive. What? I've always wanted to create a reaction channel. That's really what I got into brain science for, was to create a reaction channel, and we finally made one. We've got one. Because of our YouTube reels popping off, we've had some comments, and we thought we'd do one of those little, reacting to your hate comments. Although they're not hateful, they're lovely, and we're just going to react to them
We shall
today.
see.
We shall see if they're
I'll be
hateful.
the judge of that, mate.
Exactly. The rules of this show comes out on a Friday. It's going to come out on a Friday. Well, every week we have comments to do about. So give us some comments. Comment in below and email me. Email address on the screen, adamwright@aypuk.com. But the rules are we are not going to reply to hateful comments. Just not going to happen. Try not to swear in the comments, otherwise it's going
I
to get
might,
censored.
I might go for you. I might do it. So I might do.
Andy might go for you, and you don't want that
Depends
guy
how
going for
much
you.
it
He
irritates me.
breaks. He breaks bins. All right,
He does.
careful. He breaks
Very
bins.
accidentally.
Yeah. Well.
Very accidentally.
So I'm going to read you what Mr. Timothy Osmond sent. It's also on the screen. I don't know much about Andrew Tate, but I do know that I click dislike on things that I disagree with. I don't get anything from Andrew Tate. Your believing things because they are repeated has a lot to do with your intelligence. If repetition was the main thing that influences thinking, we would all be leftists. Okay, I'm going to just disregard the final sentence there. Just going to leave that out, and we're not going to do that. We're not doing politics here. Okay, I don't think that's true, but fine. We're not going to talk about the media industrial complex and all the ways that actually the media is dominated by right wing voice. I'm not doing it. I'm not. Hold
You've
me
been
back.
sucked into it already.
Hold me back. But what we are going to
Timothy,
talk
mate.
about.
Timothy, come on the pod, mate, and say that here, mate. How about that? Like,
This is so aggressive so fast, though. But what I do think is really worth pointing out here is this. So this was on a reel talking about our last episode, which was about truthiness, which is the idea that what you repeat to a brain, it will learn and it will remember and it will start to believe. We had a fair few comments along this vein, which is the idea that if believing things that are repeated to you is to do with intelligence, and that is the point of the episode. It is not about intelligence, okay? There is obviously a nuance to this stuff. If you say something to me and I disagree with it, I know I disagree with it. I don't automatically. I'm not like a sponge, and I just go, okay, yeah, I agree with you now. That is something that more like there is a level of intelligence to that, critical thinking, kind of having values and views that mean they're harder to sway. But the point of truthiness is that even if you have strong values, strong views about something, because of the neuroscience of repetition, what happens in the brain, Timothy, is when you repeat something to it, your brain learns it like it learns anything else that you repeat to a brain, right? And that, because your body and brain project your mind, changes the emergent property of your mind, which means that your thoughts are different because it fires in different ways, which means that maybe you don't agree with the whole truth, you don't agree with the whole statement, what this person is saying is the case, but what you will start to do is believe some of it. It is not to do with intelligence. It is not really smart people aren't swayed by this content. That's not true. That belies whatever the word disregards the neuroscience that we're trying to talk about here. And in fact, I would argue that people who are so, oh, I'm intelligent, I don't get my views swayed, are potentially more susceptible to this stuff because they don't realize it's happening. The point of the video is to say, by the way, we are all susceptible to this. All of us, no matter how strongly we hold views. If something we find abhorrent is repeated to us enough, our brain, not your mind necessarily, but your brain will learn it and that will change your mind because the way that it projects from it on that topic. So it's not about intelligence.
and I gotta say, man, just to back up your point, like there is an element of your statement, like you don't know much about Andrew Tate, but I know that you click dislike on things you disagree with, so you don't get anything from Andrew Tate. Like, yeah, grand man, that's that. That's exactly right. If you want to fight against this rise of misogyny and some of these abhorrent views, then yeah, if it does come onto your feed and you have a strong opinion and belief about it, which I do, and it sounds like you as well, Timothy, mate, like you don't get that stuff. Yes, block it, dislike it, like do everything you can to change that algorithm. Um, but some of the things will still slip through the cracks and you will still be receiving some of it. So yeah, I hear that, man, and just appreciating that, like, yeah, like intelligent people, there are people far more intelligent than me that have views that I find absolutely horrible and disgusting. So, like, intelligence is a really difficult metric to judge that thing by, and you know, I do hear you and I appreciate it. Like, there's a bit of me that has in the past probably been quite dismissive of those people, those views, and I've been like, oh, they're just stupid, man. They're just, you know what I mean? They ain't switched on, any of that stuff. But the reality is, sadly, some of these people are really intelligent, and that's what you got to try and understand. Like, you can be smart and have these views that you disagree with. That's just a fact. So, I think, try and ignore that content if you don't enjoy it. I think that's spot on, and but understanding that, as Adam said, it will be drip feeding into your sort of brain and your subconscious. So you're as an emergent property, you might not start, like Adam said, immediately believing this stuff and start being massively into Andrew Tate and those sorts of views, but it might carve off the edges a bit. It might soften up those opinions a little bit without you really knowing.
You
So
might think he made
just
a good
having the
point once on one thing
for sure.
because
Just
you've
having
heard
the
it.
critical
Yeah.
awareness in it, and that is, to some extent where I agree. Your intelligence comes into play. Having the critical awareness to go, that's what's happening. I'm going to fight against that and challenge and battle the way that we think and feel about things.
But if we're just
So
passively taking it in, that
yeah,
like there's, yeah, I could not have made that point better. Intelligence is not a metric that we can really use because intelligence is a nebulous thing. It doesn't. Intelligence is what is intelligence. You can't. It's not IQ because we're not doing IQ right now. But like IQ is not a measure of intelligence. That's like it's not. You can't. How can you say if someone's smarter than someone else? Like obviously, people. It's to do with critical thinking. It's to do with your values. It's to do with what you're an expert in. The things you spend your time learning. So really smart people have abhorrent views. Really, people who you would not assume are smart have really nuanced and intellectual views. Like, obviously, that is not a metric we can use. So, just yeah, we're talking neuroscience here. The science is if you repeat something to your brain, it will learn it and start to believe it because of emergence. There's no debate around that. That's the
for
facts.
sure, that's the fact.
So,
But man, we appreciate your interaction, big man, and
thanks, Timothy.
Timothy. Yeah, man, keep them coming,
But
mate.
let's stop straying lefties. But they didn't need that. I
Yeah,
didn't need that.
it's cussing out lefties. Yeah, no, man, but no, we appreciate your interaction and watching and listening. So, anytime we can have these sort of debates, man, it's a good thing, and we shouldn't be scared of having these debates and conversations. That's the whole point. So, big up yourself, mate, and we appreciate it. So, on to the next one. This is the last one. We've handpicked from about 1,000, so you're lucky to get on.
Yeah,
Um,
welcome to the show.
so Ryan, I'm not going to cuss out your whole username, mate, but Ryan, hello, mate. Um, and this is something that I find really interesting, right? So I'm going to say redacted in the fruity parts of this message, all right? How about when redacted comes into your feed, you just don't watch it? I get lots of redacted that I just ignore. And you know what, mate? Like, a huge parts of me agrees with that, right? Like, there is so much garbage online, and hopefully we are not in that category. But you have you're entitled to your opinion. You might think we are, which is fine. But there is, man. There's so much trash on online and all of our feeds that there has to be an element of self-awareness where you're just like, that's just nonsense. Get rid, nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. And I do agree with that. Just don't watch it is very easy. But the point is that these social media algorithms are so built for repetition and for consumption that you will constantly get it, and they are addictive. They just are, because that is what the whole Instagram Reels, TikTok, the quick access of swiping, that is addictive. So although yes, you owe it to yourself to ignore and to block and to report all the things that you find you know wrong and distasteful and let's be real, offensive, those sorts of content that is actually like quite horrible. Like, yeah, I ignore it. You're right, Ryan. I ignore that stuff and I try my best to. But even in my infinite wisdom, mate, it comes through onto my feed still, and it's just like that's irritating. So if you didn't have the strong opinion, strong belief, and the know-how that okay, I need to keep blocking, I need to access or limit, restrict my time online because that is the stuff that's happening, then you are going to, as we said in the previous comment, that emergence is going to happen and take place. And again, it doesn't mean you're going to just become this person that believes all these things. It doesn't mean. It just means you're going to be a bit more open to some of those ideas.
Exactly, and I think that this is one of those things where there's no easy solution. I think I said this in the episode. Like, we can't just like if you're on social media, you can't tailor your algorithm really. Like, there's no profound proper way you can just see the things you want to see. There's no way because that's how the whole thing's gone. But I would say if you like to be able to know that something is something you don't want to watch, something you're not interested in, you'd have to watch a little bit of it. And even in that little bit of stuff you're seeing, there that is a repetition. And as Andy said, this that stuff's been repeated to you. And I'm not like what I'm saying. There's no easy solution to this. If you are on social media, you will be seeing things that you don't agree with. Like no matter what your views are, you'll see things you don't agree with. And the science is that if you start that stuff repeats to your brain, you learn it, and you get that start can change your opinion basically, and you start to believe that thing to be true. So it's more of a just we want people to be cognizant of that process that's happening. Okay, and obviously there's not a lot you can do necessarily in the moment. Like okay, try and get off stuff that you don't want to watch. If you know it's by a creator, you know that does that kind of stuff. I just kind of block that creator. Do that kind of do as much as you can to manage your feed going forward. But it's one of those things where there's no amazing quick solution to it. And I think that, from me, that this was the problem I was having, right? I knew the neuroscience behind truthiness. I knew that stuff repeating to me was doing this. I made the personal decision. That means I'm going to get off social media. I'm not saying you have to make that decision. Obviously, you've commented on our social media, so thank you for being on social media. So you can comment on our social media. But like that's but what we're trying to do is give people more information so they can make a more informed decision on this stuff. So if that more informed decision is okay, I'm going to do my best, but no, this stuff is something that happened. Brilliant, that's fine. That's your prerogative. There's no right answer here. I personally made the decision. This is not for me. I can't do it. I don't want that to happen to me. And so that's fine. But you're right. But it's more complicated than basically it's more complicated than just ignore it because you can't just ignore it. You can't. So yes,
Well, I think that beautifully concludes our
what an
first comment
episode,
corner.
mate. I think it's a great show.
There you
Might
go.
just start doing this.
We're pretty like genuine. Keep the engagement if you can. Throw us some messages, throw us some comments. Like we really appreciate it. And we're not stupid, man. We know how this. We're just constantly trying to grow it and just reach and get to as many people, as many of you as we possibly can. So any bit of engagement you have would be much appreciated. Subscription, liking the comments, the reels, liking the videos, watching them,
Share with your
subscribing, all that
friends.
jazz,
Get
man.
us out there,
Yeah,
man.
man. But we appreciate everyone and the two geezers we spoke about today. For real, we appreciate the comments and keep growing, keep learning, and keep being open to this stuff.
Thanks,
We
guys.
appreciate it.
Exactly. And if you comment, we're assuming our rule is if you're commented publicly, that's for fair game for you to be used in this because that's what the point of public comment.
So
But
don't
if you
comment if
wanted
you
to,
don't want us to talk about it.
well, yeah. If you wanted to email and wanted it to be anonymous, if you write that in the email, and I have a question or a comment, but can it just be anonymous? We will just read the email and not
For
say
sure.
the email address on the screen. adam@aoipuk.com. We want to make this a broad conversation, and it doesn't have to be about the latest episode. It could be anything to do with neuroscience. We want to, or all the stuff we've talked about previously, the stuff you want us to talk about in the future. Like we want to try and open this conversation up to the audience we're now growing. So. Yes, please get in touch and help us make this show happen next Friday because we need some more comments for another
Yeah.
edition to happen. So comment below.
Blessings. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, guys. See you all on Monday's episode.
Yes.
Monday's episode's great. It's a banger, mate.
Top.
Absolute banger. If you're on about sleep, Monday's your place.
Top. Nice one, guys. See you later.